and our Monday afternoon yoga class, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Tantra. So make yourself comfortable, whether you've chosen to start lying down or seated, and try to open up to the totality of your experience in this moment. So sometimes in yoga, we ask you to focus on the breath, or we ask you to focus on a particular object or idea. This time I'm wondering if you can just kind of open up and just say, okay, where am I? Who am I? What's going on in my little space? And in Tantra, we really seek to embrace our environment. So I've chosen to hopefully broadcast from outside today. As part of the natural environment, I'm subject to, nature sounds, which in the city include motorcycles and other things. But as part of my environment, I might see that as a vessel in which to explore my sacredness. And I want to talk more about what that might mean. So if you're uncomfortable, please feel free to shift your position. I'm just going to talk a little bit about Tantra before we get into our practice. So unless you have been lucky enough to activate your own personal potential, you really can't have a powerful effect on the world. Now, when we talk about yoga thought, or I'll say Vedic thought, a lot of times we talk about elevating collective consciousness. And sometimes what happens is we get really into orthodoxy with that. Well, what happened in the history of yoga is it got so focused on the collective consciousness, and the teachings became very, very protected for just a certain class. Women or householders wouldn't have been allowed to learn these things. And basically it kind of fell into a dark ages. And then all of a sudden this new philosophy kind of began to emerge that was more about, what if we are of the world, in the world, but we still want to understand beyond the world? And that's where Tantra came from. So the word tan in Sanskrit means to expand or stretch, and tra can sometimes be interpreted to mean beyond the limits. So in Eastern traditions like yoga, this Tantra began to be kind of very associated with what's our karmic outcome. Maybe certain astrology might be kind of woven into this. So life is seen as sacred in Tantra. Through our human incarnation, we have access to unlocking sacred potential. Our body becomes an altar. It's inside, not the outside of us. The body has been designed to help us perfectly access this level of worship. So wherever you are, if you are outside or you are in your house, see if you can embrace the totality of your experience in this moment without shoving things aside because they're not perfect or they're not yoga-like. See if you can look at your experience in this moment with all its warts and all as a vessel for your sacred discovery, for your sacred journey. So we welcome in Tantra, you welcome all the different kinds of things that happen in a human life and see it as an opportunity to practice yoga. If we're not seeing life just as it is, as sacred, then we haven't entered into the right relationship with ourselves. And it's through this reweaving of the fabric of who we are in all of our different layers, we begin to see the sacredness in life. So take a couple breaths, and I'll just leave you with a second to just kind of absorb that kind of idea of your body as being sacred, your breath as being sacred, your experience in this moment as being sacred. And then if you've chosen to start lying down, please come to an upright seat and open your eyes, and we can start some movement together. I'm seated on a folded blanket with my legs stretched out in front of me. You might want to get a pillow or a blanket to sit on. Something firm is better than something wobbly. And we're going to start to weave a little bit of movement and breath together. So when you're ready, let's inhale, fan out your toes. And as you exhale, collect the toes into the ball of the foot. And that's the simple movement for the next couple breaths. The challenge is for us as tantric yogis today is to see that as sexy, to see that as sacred. On your next inhale, can you push the toes away from you And as you exhale, flex at the ankles. And that's our movement for the next 2 breaths. So can you give all of your love, all of your devotion, all of your attention to the movement of your ankles? On your next inhale, can you roll the feet around in one direction? And exhale, roll around in the other direction. Being really excited that your ankles can move like this and being really attentive to your ankles moving like this. And then as you inhale, straighten one leg out, and as you exhale, bend the knee in. That's our movement for the next 2 breaths. Simply luxuriating in the fact that you have all this miracle of engineering that allows your knee to bend like this. Let's try the other leg. Inhaling and exhaling. So tantric yoga is a way to celebrate your body exactly as it's presenting this afternoon. Exactly, warts and all, as a sacred vessel for your spiritual exploration. The next inhale, lift that first leg, turn the thigh bone out and move it out a little bit. As you exhale, turn the thigh bone in and move the leg back in. Keep your hips grounded so you're just moving the leg. And if my movements look like they're just too dramatic for you today, make the movement much smaller. And then we'll switch over to the other leg. This typically, whenever I teach this in a studio, elicits lots of groans and lots of, oh my goodness, this is a lot harder than it looks. So can you embrace that as a way to move towards your spiritual realization? Beautiful. And then we're going to take the hands and do a few movements with the hands. As you inhale, spread the fingers out. Exhale, gather the fingers in. And again, look at the miracle of your hands. Think of the journey you and your hands have had. And while you're moving and breathing through your fingers, allow that reverence to come through. As you inhale, roll the wrists around in one direction, and exhale, roll back in the other direction. Do that in each direction one more time. Losing my notes, sorry. Breeze came up. And then inhale, stretch the elbow out. Exhale, you'd be doing both arms if you don't have to hold on to your notes. And I'm even seeing the breeze blowing my notes all over as a divine inspiration of the beauty of that soft, warm summer breeze on our skin. So you're using both arms, I'm just using one. As you inhale, draw the shoulder blades together. Exhale, separate the blades and come back and forth. You're really thinking about the upper back. It's such an underused or underappreciated part of your body. So now give it a little love. Beautiful. And we're ready to come to hands and knees for a little bit more of this kind of work. So I'm going to use the blanket underneath my knees. I'm, as you can see, on a hard surface. So I like the blanket to cushion. If you're on a carpet, you maybe don't have to worry about this as much. So finding a table pose position, bringing your legs fairly close together. If you don't care to wait there on your knees, remember there's always the option of using the chair for table pose. Inhale here in the center position. As you exhale, drop the hips gently to one side. Inhale back to center and exhale, drop the hips to the other side. Please keep your shoulders aligned over your wrists. So this is a movement isolated to the hip area. We're getting into a really magical part of our bodies. An area with a lot of potential and subtle energy. But sometimes we're stuck. Sometimes there's injuries or there's stiffness. So allow the breath, allow the sacred attitude to this movement to help you move past some of that. Taking the knees just a little further apart. When you're ready, let's inhale, lift one leg up, and exhale, draw the knee in. So this isn't time to do the most extreme movement that you're capable of. We want to really move in a way that makes us feel elegant, that makes us feel beautiful, that makes us feel strong. And after you've done about 3 breaths on one leg, let's move to the other leg. So you keep moving. So Tantra is both a philosophical view and a practical way to live. We're putting Tantra to practice today. After you've done 3 breaths on that second leg, let's come back to a comfortable seat. So for you, that might mean sitting in a chair. In fact, I would recommend sitting in a chair if sitting on your heels like I am is uncomfortable for you. So sitting in a chair would be highly recommended if being in thunderbolt pose is uncomfortable for knees or hips. We do a little bit more work on the shoulders. So when you're ready to inhale, draw the arms back, and then exhale, swing the arms up. This is a free range of motion. I want you to try to find a comfortable way to move so you can just really be excited that your arms can do these kind of things. And then let the elbows bend softly. They can be closer in. Inhale and exhale. If you could see what was going on inside your shoulder joint right now, you'd be gobsmacked. It's amazing what's going on in there. Let's come back to table pose. So you may be working with a chair with table pose, which is exactly the same. When you next inhale, celebrate life by lifting up the heart. Exhale, celebrate your strength by lifting and tucking up the belly. Moving back and forth. Really feeling breaths move to all the dark, underused places along the spine. Really firing up the energy along the spine. Let's take 2 more breaths like that. So we are encouraged to use everything at our disposal to make realizations regarding our spiritual power. It's natural to experience a certain amount of resistance to unlocking the potential of our power. It can be really overwhelming to discover that we're in charge of this all along. We can't blame our mothers anymore or our bosses. And then when you're ready, we're going to come to a standing position, please, into mountain pose. So coming into mountain pose, and adjust the angle of my computer again. And then a little bit more movement for the spine. Inhale, lift the arms, whatever distance is comfortable. Exhale, arc over to one side. Inhale, back up. And exhale, arc to the other side. Sometimes this pose is called Halfmoon Pose. Did anybody have a chance to see the beautiful full moon? I think we heard it was a strawberry moon, according to some traditions. It was a lovely sight. So honoring that luminescence as females, and we're all females today, our whole bodies follow the energy of the moon. Beautiful. And then come back up to center and we'll release. And I invite you to come back down onto your back. Find constructive rest position. So it's lying on your back with your knees bent and feet on the floor. We do a little bit of movement from here, but just while you're getting organized. We use these practices. So we were starting with breast-centered movement today. We use these practices to help us unwind old patterning. On a personal note, it's interesting how being isolated during COVID has helped me, forced me really, to recognize that a lot of the coping mechanisms or the distraction tools, being busy by yoga is one of them, allow me to perpetuate unhealthy thought patterns or unhealthy habits. So we use the yoga practices to help us unweave attachments to these old patterns. And as we advance our practices, we can add more tools such as breath and meditation and chanting and mudra. And the weaving becomes even more compelling. So maybe that could be why, 2 months into COVID, I'm starting to feel a lot of shift, a lot of change, because it's getting harder to be isolated and the stakes are getting higher. And I use a lot more yoga like this. So I'm just on the precipice perhaps of a big shift. You might be feeling that too. So rather than a state of mind being the main focus as it is in classical yoga, the classical yoga of Patanjali, for example, Tantra focuses more on the movement of energy. It's like the science of energy management. So from here in constructive rest, let's try some movement. As you inhale, stretch your left arm back behind your head and your right leg straight out on the floor. As you exhale, come back to constructive rest. And then as you inhale, repeat by stretching out the left leg and the right arm. And as you inhale, come back to, exhale, come back to constructive rest. And then as you exhale the next time, let's bring both legs in with both arms stretched. And then we'll repeat that. Inhale, stretch your left arm back behind your head and right leg long. Exhale, back to constructive rest. Inhale, stretch your left leg and right arm. Exhale, back to constructive rest. And inhale, both legs, both arms. And exhale, back to constructive rest. And if we could please do that one more time at the pace of your own breath. Often in this kind of work, we look to balance the energy by equalizing the inhale to the exhale. So that's another layer you can weave into this. I'll meet everybody back into constructive rest. We'll just take a couple breaths of quiet. And then if you like, you can lift the feet up off the floor. Take an inhale here. And as you exhale, gradually bring the right knee a little closer in. Inhale, release the right knee. You're back into a more open position. Exhale, bring the left knee in. And then inhale, relax into a bit more open position. And the last exhale in this series, both knees come in together. And then please repeat that pattern 2 more times. And we're really using these movements. They engage the right and the left sides of the body in unique patterns. And then they bring everything into balance after that, don't they? So we're using these soothing movements to bring all aspects of your energy system into an alert and online position. So you're ready to learn, you're ready to receive, you're ready to grow through your practice. You can leave both knees into the chest for a few breaths if you find that comforting. Take any other kinds of preparatory movements. And let me explain how I might weave now some sound into our practice. So the Gayatri Mantra is a very, very old mantra that invites illumination. Illumination is a timeless sort of synonym or idea around learning or light or growing in knowledge. So the Gayatri Mantra is one way for us to invoke the elements in order to help us build knowledge or bring light in. So when you're ready, please roll to your side. We'll make our way back up to mountain pose again. And we'll start learning the Gayatri, and you don't have to, there'll be no test, I promise, and I'll probably screw it up 3 times, so don't worry, maybe 4. But what we're going to do is just kind of start with this call and response sort of thing. So while you're inhaling and coming into this movement, which is simply lifting up your arms, you can also come up onto the balls of the feet if you need more spice to help stay focused. As you're inhaling, I'm going to chant the first stanza to you, and then as you exhale and come back down, you repeat exactly what I just said. And for the first little while, I can sing it with you so that you can kind of pick up on some of the syllables. And if you're a little shy to make sound out loud where you are, you can just hum quietly and listen. But it's really, really a wonderful addition to your tantric yoga practice to be able to make some sound and weave in sound waves to all the other sensory input that your practice has. So here we go. Ready? We're inhaling. I'm going to chant to you, and then on the exhale, you chant back to me. Ready? Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Your turn. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tatsavitur Varaniyam. Tatsavitur Varaniyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhimahi. Dhyo yo naha prachodayat. Dhyo yo naha prachodayat. Isn't that kind of fun? Making a little bit of noise. So we'll practice that over and over again, and there's no one there to see all your mistakes. Of course, you're going to see all my mistakes. Let's take a warrior one posture. So let's step our left leg forward, right leg back, front knees bent. We're square towards the camera. So we're going to come in and out of the posture doing exactly what we just did, and then we'll hold the pose and maybe chant the full mantra while we're holding the pose. So don't be shy. Intention is everything when you start bringing in mantra into your practice. So we'll come into the posture on the inhale. You can listen, and then you pull out of the posture on your exhale and answer back to me. Ready? Here we go. Om Bhur, Om Bhuvaha, Om Swaha. Tat Savitur Vareniyam. Tat Savitur Vareniyam. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. And then holding the posture, maybe we'll chant again, saying call and response, holding the posture. Now, if you still want some movement, you could maybe do something like this on the exhale, or you could leave your arms here or lift your arms up wherever you're most comfortable for the next 4 breaths. So here we go. On the inhales, I'll chant. On the exhales, you answer back. Ready? Inhale now. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tat Savitur Vareniyam. Tat Savitur Vareniyam. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Prachodayat. Good. And then we can release out of the posture. And take a moment as you come back to mountain pose. And if this is a newer practice for you, incorporating something as complicated as the Gayatri Mantra into these multi-limb poses, notice how it captures your imagination. It draws you out of your habits of practicing Warrior One. And that's what we wanted to do in Tantra Yoga. We wanted to use all the tools at our disposal to realize our sacred potential. So let's try this on the other side. Same thing. You kind of know the routine now. This doesn't have to be the sexiest Warrior One ever. This is a posture you can have enough energy left over to think about other things, not just how deep your front knee bend is. Ready? So we come into the posture on the inhale, and then on the exhale, you answer back. Ready? Here we go. Inhaling. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tat Savitur Vareniyam. Tat Savitur Vareniyam. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. And then holding the posture. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tat Savitur Vareniyam. Savitur Vareniyam. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. And then coming into mountain pose, you can even take your hands together at your heart. Or if there's another mudra that really helps you to feel the sacredness of this unique moment in time, then of course you would use that one. Take a breath in and out here. And then please turn sideways on your mat. We're going to do a little bit of work in Warrior Two. So starting out with your feet in a parallel position, and then just working to turn the right thigh bone outward so the toes are now facing the short edge of the mat. Letting the right knee bend so that it's directly over top of that ankle, pointing in the same direction as the toes. And remember, there's adjustments you might want to make to your left leg. It might be prudent for you to step it forward and turn it inward, even letting your hips shift a little bit, if that makes everything feel like the energy could flow. When you're practicing yoga from a tantric perspective, it's so important to allow movement, to allow your body to express its unique needs. Anytime you try to lock yourself into perfect alignment and joints are really locked down, you're going to hold back that wonderful flow of natural energy. Your body is no longer your temple. It's become your place of punishment. So in tantric yoga, you want to allow movement, you want to allow pulsation, you want to allow flow. So change the positioning of your feet. Allow your body to relax. You're doing great. Don't worry about it. All right, let's weave in the mantra. This is the movement I thought we could try. So this would be the inhale position. And then as you exhale, keep the arms straight out from the shoulders, twist the upper body. So now you're looking at the top side of your mat, and then come back. Now, if your arms get tired, feel free to drop them down and let them rest on your hips. The most important part is this twisting of the waist. So same thing, on the inhale, I'll chant to you. On the exhales, please send it back to me. We'll bounce back and forth. So here we go. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Yo yo naha prachodayat. Yo yo naha prachodayat. So holding this position, we might chant that one more time. So really opening up the arms, lifting the chest, being buoyant, being victorious like a warrior. And then let's inhale, I'll chant. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. And then your turn. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo naha prachodayat. And then let it all go and come back to center. Take a breath. And you feel a little self-conscious in your room or your space making all these sounds. Just think, I'm outside and all my neighbors can hear what I'm doing. And you know that they're all gossiping over the fence. She's finally gone loopy on us. Let's take the left thigh, rotate the left thigh out, find your stance on this side. My hope for you in this rather crazy practice today is that you're just starting to kind of feel your power, feel your sacred ability and your sacred duty to mine these places in your body that are stuck or resistant. I don't know where you're going, but I'm really excited to see where you might get when you get there. So let's come in to the posture the same way. On the inhales, I'll give you the line. On the exhales, you can bounce it back. Here we go. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo naha prachodayat. Dhiyo yo naha prachodayat. And then holding the position, remember you can take the arms and change them any way that works for you. I'm going to take a W shape for warrior. And let's repeat the same chant rhythm. Ready? Inhaling now. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Your turn. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo naha prachodayat. Yo yo naha prachodayat. And then releasing, coming back to center. Keeping the feet fairly wide. Keeping the heels a little wider apart than the heels. So you feel almost pigeon-toed. We're going to come into a forward fold sequence here. So if you know you like blocks, or you'd rather have your chair in front of you so you don't have to fold all the way forward, sometimes that makes people dizzy, or there's other reasons they don't like doing that. So I don't want you to have to worry about stiff backs. That's going to hold you back from feeling the whole experience. So take whatever props you need. It's okay to have a little bend in the knees too. So the movement here is to come forward on the exhales as far as you feel comfortable. Come halfway up on the inhales, come back down on the exhales, and then come all the way back up on the inhales. And we'll repeat that with using our chant rhythm. So the same thing, inhaling, I'll give you the words, exhaling, you bounce them back to me. Shall we go? Here we go. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tatsavitur Varanyam. Tatsavitur Varanyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tatsavitur Varanyam. Bhargo Tatsavitur Varanyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Just taking a moment, you can bring your legs together if mountain pose makes more sense right now, or apart for a few minutes. Or if there's some other kinds of movements that you feel would be appropriate. Remember, we talked about really allowing fluidity and pulsations. So there's no need to do a structured asana here. Letting the sounds of the Gayatri bounce around, the vibrations will bounce around your body. Let yourself have free movement for a second. This is what we're meant to do. This is what human beings were created to do. So this can't be bad. Good. Okay. And now that we're really kind of relaxed and we're really kind of into our bodies, let's come back into more of a mountain pose sort of stance. And let's really connect to the feelings of our feet being into the earth. So even if you're in an indoor space, you can still visualize the ground beneath your foundation and allow the roots from your feet to penetrate into the earth. And as you really absorb the idea that you are of the earth, connected to the earth, from the earth, to imitate a tree becomes almost an organic expression of your birthright. So without worrying about all the different cues that can crowd into the thoughts when you try to find tree pose, let yourself just blossom into tree. We're going to hold tree for enough time that we can do our back and forth bouncing around of the Gayatri Mantra. So let's inhale together now, and I'll give you the first stanza. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. You answer back. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tatsavitur Varanyam. Tatsavitur Varanyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Holding quiet. One more breath. And then releasing. So if balance is becoming a real issue for you right now, you can have a chair beside you to hold on to, or keep both feet on the ground even though you find the tree shape. This is a day to allow your body to inform your practice and to really appreciate that dialogue, the ability to have that dialogue. It's sacred. Now, without too much thought about it, let's just come into tree on the other side and we'll repeat the protocol. As you inhale, Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. You answer back. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tatsavitur Varanyam. Tatsavitur Varanyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Finding stillness and quiet for one more breath. And then releasing. Shaking out any tension that, as best as we try, it does invade, doesn't it? And we're going to come down onto our backs and work on a little bit of bridge pose variation. So if you like props for bridge pose, of course, you can use those. This is a very simple version of bridge pose. We just inhale up and inhale and exhale down. But of course, we're going to be playing with other elements rather than just the physical pose. So this is one of the ones where you can use your arms if you want to and extend your arms back behind your head when you lift your hips. So if you want to do that, just make sure you're not going to hit anything from behind you. And then what we'll do is we'll come up and down 4 times, give us a chance to go over the mantra stanza by stanza, and then we'll stay up in bridge, and I'll do the whole chant, and maybe you can just mentally repeat. So rather than, I'll explain once we get there. So it's a call and response as we've been doing up till now for the first 4 breaths. Are you ready? Let's inhale up into bridge. You can use your arms if you want. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. And as you come down, you say, Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tatsavitur Varenyam. Tatsavitur Varenyam. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhyo yo naha prachodayat. Dhyo yo naha prachodayat. So as you come up this time, I will chant, and then when you're coming back down, just mentally repeat the chant. Ready? So you don't have to make any noise now. Ready? Inhale, coming up. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. You're coming up again. Tatsavitur Varenyam. Coming back down in silence, mentally repeating the mantra. Coming up now. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. And coming back down, mentally repeating. Last time up. Dhyo yo naha prachodayat. Okay. And then last kind of variation on bridge pose. I'm going to ask you to inhale up into bridge pose, hold the posture, listen to the chant as you're inhaling up, mentally repeat the chant as you retain the inhale, and then sing the chant with me as you exhale. This is going to be a lot longer breath, and it's going to involve a lot more mental power. So if you like one of the previous versions of bridge pose, please choose that one instead. This is really kind of like upping the wattage on these energy management practices. So if you're ready, if you want to come, we're going to do this 3 times. It's the whole mantra in one go. So I'll do the whole mantra as you inhale. We'll silently repeat as you retain your inhale, and then lower down as you sing it back to me. If you don't like retaining your inhales, if that makes you uncomfortable, dizzy or something like that, then please don't do this practice. Okay, ready? Here we go. Lifting up. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tatsavitur Varenyam. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhyo yo naha prachodayat. Retaining your breath for Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tatsavitur Varenyam. Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhyo yo naha prachodayat. And coming down with me now. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha. Tatsavitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo yo naha prachodayat. Let's take a break. Just assess how that practice is landing, because I'm really starting to dive deep here. This class was called Tantra 2, Diving Deeply. So just make sure that we're in the right sandbox for you. If you like what's happening, we can go for 2 more rounds. Otherwise, you can either just rest or redo one of the other postures we did at the beginning of class. Maybe the knee to chest pose would be good. So here we go. If you're coming with me, we're inhaling, I chant. Om Bhurvaha Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dimahi Dio Yo Naha Prachodayat. Retain the breath. Om Bhurvaha Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dimahi Dio Yo Naha Prachodayat. Coming back down. Om Bhurvaha Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dimahi Dio Yo Naha Prachodayat. Let's just take a breath in between the rounds. Make sure everything's okay. Last time, inhaling up. Om Bhurvaha Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dimahi Dio Yo Naha Prachodayat. Retaining the breath, mentally repeating the mantra. And then exhaling, saying it back to me. Om Bhurvaha Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dimahi Dio Yo Naha Prachodayat. And rest. Can you sense the mind shifting from its normal physical orientation to something more subtle? In yoga, we might say it's a pranic orientation. It's a sensation perhaps in your body of fluidity or pulsation or heat transfer, tingling, or just a sense of space where things felt compressed, tight, impossible. Do things feel a little bit more spacious? Before we leave this orientation, could I please invite you now to stretch your legs up to the ceiling? They don't have to be perfectly straight. Stretch your arms up to the ceiling and push your back firmly into the floor. This is a bit of a core exercise. There's really no chanting to be done here. This is to stabilize your back after all those bridge poses. So arms stretching up, legs stretching up, but pushing your back firmly into the floor. You'll notice that the muscles around your core do engage here. You feel hugged, girdled. And we'll just take one more breath. And then you're welcome to hug your knees into your chest, roll over to your side, and please come up to a supported seat. So for many of us, the healthiest place to be will be on a chair. For some of us, we might just get away with a blanket or a bolster underneath our bottoms. But this is what I look for every day. And you might not find the same thing happening every day, but you want the hip joints higher than the knee joints. This allows not only that nice curves in the spine that we often talk about, but because our view is tantric today, and it's all about managing our energy, if our pelvis is not accurately connected to the earth, we're not feeling that subtle signaling that travels up the spinal cord, whether you're aware of it or not, that subtle reassurance to the nervous system that we are safe. If we don't feel safe, we're not going to have the energy in order to do this deep spiritual, this sacred work. It's kind of like in the days when I took political science and they said, well, when people have full bellies, they don't have revolutions. And so we want to make sure that we really feel grounded and safe, and then we can have an internal revolution. So finding that comfortable seat. So a chair might be the best thing for you. We're going to come into an easy spinal twist. So this is the movement. It's the waist really twisting like we did in the Warrior 2 earlier. And we'll do this in time with the breath and in time with that mantra rhythm that we've been working on through the whole class. So as you inhale, sit up straight, and I'll chant to you. And as you exhale and twist, you can chant back to me. So here we go. Ready? Inhaling. Om Bhurvaha Swaha. Om Bhurvaha Swaha. Tatsavitur Varenyam. Tatsavitur Varenyam. Bargo Devasya Dimahi. Bargo Devasya Dimahi. Dio yo naha prachodayat. Dio yo naha prachodayat. Now holding this, repeating the chant mentally. Couple times. On your next inhale, releasing, coming back to center. So if you don't remember the whole chant, that's okay. Just let the sensory impression of having those sound waves move through your body linger. So we're so used to trying to memorize poems and learn things for choir practice. This isn't what we're doing here. We're letting the sound energy waves help us remember our sacredness. So whatever you do retain, whatever you do want to think about in those silent times, that's perfect for you. You notice I've changed the cross of my legs, so if you're sitting like me, it just helps to keep the energy flowing. Let's repeat on this side. I'll inhale and chant, you twist and answer me back. Inhaling, Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha, Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha, Tat Savitur Vareniyam, Tat Savitur Vareniyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dio yo naha prachodayat, Dio yo naha prachodayat. And then holding the twist, continuing to breathe, but let the chant roll around in your mind and be felt in your body. And then coming back to center when you're ready. That's been a pretty full practice. Would you like to come to Shavasana now? So please make yourself comfortable using the props you have at home to keep you warm and supported. So this mantra really helps to illuminate the path back to our soul, to our sacred bits. Yoga takes us places that the mind can't reach on its own. No book can tell you how to get here. You got to show up on your mat. And it's only when we really search for that stillness, when we're brave and courageous enough to face 2.5 months or 3 months of lockdown and COVID and be alone this much, only when we're that courageous and brave and go to that stillness that we sense what is beyond the thinking mind. And that's when we're on the path of Tantra. So I hope you've made yourself comfortable. I'd like to guide you just for a few minutes in a meditation that might help to really deepen your experiences today in your movement practice. So try to make sure that your body has been arranged as comfortably as possible. Remember, we talked earlier, there's stiffness or resistance physically, it's very difficult for energy to flow. So take some extra props today. No time to be brave. And then please relax on purpose. So you might welcome the feelings of the earth rising up to meet your body. And feeling all the nooks and crannies of your body kind of supported by the gifts of earth. Anything solid you can reach for to tuck into a nook and cranny is more than welcome. So allow your body to welcome the support of earth. Relaxing through the ankles and the knees and the hips, the joints of the spine. Relaxing through the right shoulder and the left shoulder. Relaxing the fingers. Relaxing the weight of your head back to the earth. Relaxing the expression on your face. Softening. And when you've created as much softness through the body as you can for today, welcome your mind into this softness, to this gentle cradle of welcoming stillness and rest. And gently coach your mind that it is safe and even desirable to just take a wee rest, that we will be allowing your energy system to support you in this Shavasana today. So allowing your body to welcome the support of the earth and allowing your body to welcome the mind. And when we've come to this still place, as best as we can, could I please draw awareness to your natural breath, moving in and out through your nose. Please don't feel any pressure to change your breathing or alter it in any way. Simply become aware that there is air moving in and out of your nose. And then very simply, I'm going to ask, please, if you would take a bit of control of the flow of air in and out of your nose. Be a little bit more aware of that. And then when you inhale, could you notice now the left nostril a little bit more? And as you exhale, notice the right nostril a little bit more. And then as you inhale again, stay with that right nostril. And as you exhale, shift back on purpose to the left nostril. We'll stay with the left nostril as you inhale. And shift your attention to the right nostril as you exhale. Stay with the right nostril as you inhale. And shift to the left nostril as you exhale. And continuing with that gentle awareness shifting, you shift to the different nostril as you exhale. And we can weave in another layer to this by imagining that your body is cocooned by a bright white light. You might visualize sunlight, that seems more accessible. And as you inhale through the nostril, you feel this light coming into the body, flushing the whole spine. And as you exhale through the alternate nostril, you feel the light coming out and rejoining with the whole cocoon of light around your body. So you're literally breathing in and breathing out this beautiful light. You're alternating sides, switching sides as you exhale each time. And when the light comes into your body, it flushes all through your mind and all down your spine, right to the tailbone. Let's stay with that practice for just a couple more breaths. And then if you want to, we could just dissolve that focus. So let breathing go back to automatic. And as we did at the beginning of practice, simply open awareness to our entire body in this moment. All levels of our experience. If possible, be especially attuned to any senses of pulsation or warmth moving, tingling, or just a sense of aliveness. You're welcome to stay in this position as long as you like this afternoon. But if you have to get on to something else, let's bring yourself back into an upright position very slowly and gently. Let's finish our time together with that mantra one more time. As you inhale, like maybe doing this, I could chant the whole mantra. We can stay open and lifted in the spine as we hold the breath in and hold the mental repetition of the mantra. And then as we come down into a sacred mudra at the heart, we could repeat the mantra together. So if you want, come with me. As I inhale, you can just listen, retain, and then chant out loud. Ready? Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha Tatsavitur Varaniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Mentally repeat. Exhale together. Om Bhur Bhurvaha Swaha Tatsavitur Varaniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. And I hope you feel your unique sacredness in this moment. Namaste, my friends.